Press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update. We'll be talking about this particular hand on the left hand side, and I would be comparing it with the right hand. And this is the hand of a person who is in the medical field. And before I start, I would request you to, when you see the video, do give your comments. Your comments are really precious, so that's a request from you. So now we straight away head to this particular hand. Generally, like, this person wants a palmistry reading from me. Everybody basically wants to know about few things in their life, and most important things are like regarding money, your wealth, your career. These are the things. But from the point of view of a palmist, it could be a little bit different. I would be making another video on the same hand on the left hand side, but in this video I will try to prioritize things that I want to basically tell about this particular palm. If you compare both the palms, the left as well as right, you would notice that in the left hand there's one single line that you see out here. Let me just draw over this. So this is the line that we are referring to. It is called the simian line, and this is comparatively a rare line. Not many people have it, very few people have it. It could be in a proportion of probably 1 in 1,000, or maybe, so that could be a probability that it is so rare. See, rare lines do not mean that the hand becomes better or the hand becomes worse. So we are not saying that the hand is bad, we are not saying the hand is good just by looking at this particular line. This is a combination of the head as well as the heart line. In normal people's hand, you would notice that a person has got just a single line of head and an independent line of heart. So this is what it basically means. I will try to explain to you on the right hand how, and this is what everybody has. Not one, but many people have these kind of lines. There could be a little bit of variations, but in general terms it remains the same. So what happens is that the headline, this is the line we are referring to. This is the line of our thought process. This is the line of how we are going to react to a particular situation. This is not necessarily that it would make a person like a genius. It doesn't mean that. It is just talking about what kind of the mental things that are going to play out in your life, how stable your mental stability is going to be, how fragile your mental stability is going to be. Is there going to be a depression, or is there going to be those kind of things? If the line is neat and clean, then basically it means that it is a basically neat and clean kind of a thought process, a very, very predictable kind of a thought process. And the line of heart, this is the line of emotions. This is the line of how we are going to react emotionally. So basically there's always a competition, there's a fight between two things, and this is the thought process and the feelings. This is the line of feelings, this is the line of thought process. So what's happening is, this is the middle ground that you see. The middle ground is the playing ground, the football field. What it basically depicts, it depicts the emotions from the heart line and the thought process from the headline are mingling together out here, and that's where decisions are being made with a combination of your feelings and your thought process. So our thought process, like, it's a very, very complicated kind of a decision making. It's a combination of your feelings as well as thought process. That's how we come to a particular decision. So this is what a normal person hand might mean. So what it would also mean is that such people would be like more predictable kind. They would be more in tune with normal kind of people. They would understand other people more, like they would be able to understand other people's feelings, other people's thought process, and that is the reason why their actions and their decisions are going to be more towards like what the society is accepting. So this is what the right hand shows. But in the left hand, what basically you would notice is that the simian line makes a person whose decisions are going to be very one-sided. It could be purely and purely feeling based, or it could be purely and purely thought process based. So there's no middle ground. You would notice that there's no line in the middle. There's no gap in the middle. As we see out here, there's no gap in the middle. So what's going to happen is that in the left hand that you see, where we find the simian line, such a person could be an extremely good friend or a very, very bitter enemy. And to understand such a person also becomes difficult. For himself, see, each one of us are extremely comfortable with whatever we are. It is how we correlate with other people that matters the most, because such a person, while taking decisions, is going to be extremely hard. It could be purely emotion based or purely thought process based. So this is what is, so what's happening is when there's no gap between the head and the line of heart. Imagine I'm just drawn the upper one to be the heart line and the lower one to be the headline. So what happens, although this hand doesn't show, but I'm just for explanation purpose, I'm trying to explain to you. Imagine there's an extremely small gap in between. So lesser space is being given to your thought process and the feelings. So the person could become jittery. Basically, it could be their decisions are going to be a little bit different, and other people around to them would not understand them completely. Even the closest of person is going to be thinking why this person is reacting in such way. So this is what it basically means. Do not think that this could bring hardships. It doesn't mean that the person would not be successful. The person could be extremely successful because the person is purely on one side, thought process side, or purely on the emotion side. That is the reason why such a person would be able to take much tougher decisions compared to the right hand. So this is what the left hand is showing. Now another thing that we find out here is that apart from having this simian line that you see out here, which is a combination of head and heart, it means, and this thing is kind of going really straight. So what happens is when the headline goes extremely straight and it is not leaning a little bit downwards, so what happens is that it would make a person extremely practical, like there's no scope of any imagination at all. So the person is living in now, present, and that's what he is. So this is one part. The other part is that although I've said there's no heart line, but at the same time we also find few small lines that we see out here. These are the lines that are shown in this particular hand. So although there's no complete heart line as we see in the right hand, in the left hand we find that these smaller lines are kind of sister lines to the heart line, and heart line is somewhere out here and the headline is also out here. So it's kind of running parallel to the heart line, and it's also showing up just under the mount of Saturn. See, mount of Saturn is the planet for money management. It is the planet for responsibility. It is the planet for how good we would be able to accumulate money in our life. And this is basically the area of possessions. This is the area of outer appearances. So, and anything under the earth. So this is, and also chemicals and all. So this is the area of all these areas. So try to understand if a person have these kind of lines, and so it's not one but multiple lines. So what happens is that the emotions are going to come in a hysterical way. It is kind of a line that is called the line of girdle of Venus. So normally in books, girdle of Venus is something like this, but girdle of Venus could also be in broken form, like in break form. So broken girdle of Venus makes a person more hysterical. Hysterical means uncontrolled emotions, and this is what basically it means. And so such a person's emotions are going to be playing out in a way where it's going to be a little bit abnormal. Like the emotions are going to be something like this. If we draw the graph, it's not going to be very gradual kind. Out here in the right hand, you would notice that there's no line of girdle of Venus. There's no girdle of Venus. So this is comparatively more normal. The emotions are going to be much more normal, but out here, such a person could display that hysterical qualities and uncontrolled emotions. So so living in this world, if we have these things, that it could restrict ourselves to some extent. It could trouble us. It could trouble our personal life. These lines, to some extent, this is also the area of responsibility, but this is also Saturn is a very slow moving planet, and a slow moving planet, if it has got these kind of lines, so what's going to happen is, imagine this is the sun and this is the circumference where the Saturn is revolving around. So imagine these lines that have displayed, these horizontal lines. What it would do is, it's going to like create roadblocks in Saturn. So what's going to happen, that it would appear that our life is full of roadblocks. This is what the feeling is going to come, and restriction, like we are going to feel caged inside a cage, and we would feel something like we need to get out of the cage and break open the cage. So this is what the feelings are going to be, something like this. And there could be outburst in our emotions. When the person is happy, the person could be extremely happy. When the person is sad, the person could be extremely sad. So his emotional life and his emotional life with his partner is going to be a little bit different, and it is going to be something that the person might not be, the people around him might not be comfortable with. So it would be hard for him to make other people understand his true feelings, and it would be hard for the other person to understand him completely. So this is what these lines are depicting. See, from the point of view, generally when you go to a palmist, what you do is that you ask him that, okay, I want to know about my money, possessions, this thing. But the palmist can have different opinions, and the person might be wanting to tell you something else. But because you are like forcing the palmist to tell only things that you want to know, the main thing is missed out. So the first area that I found to be the most important area, I've tried to display out here. There are many good signs also in the hand. I would be talking about those in the next video I'm going to be making just after this particular video. I don't want to mingle two things together. Out here, I had compared two hands, the right hand of the person I was giving a reading to, with the right hand of another person who's there just for comparison. This is just there for comparison purpose. So it's also better to have lesser lines. I would be talking about those things in my next video. So that's it for right now. I would also be talking about the heart line in the next video. These lines these branches that you see, this island that you see, the branches that you see on the heart line and the headline, these upward lines, the sun line, the Mercury line, all these things I would be talking about in the next video. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked this particular video. I would request you to give a like button. Do give your comments. One more thing I would be adding just beyond after this particular video, just take a look at that as well. It's really important. And if you want a paid palmistry reading, you can contact me on my email address or my phone number. Those numbers are mentioned right here. And importance of money line is only 15%. Importance of money, possessions, wealth line is only 15% on your money line. So there are more lines that we have to see. The whole palm you have to see in order to come to a conclusion regarding your money, your career, and many other things. So it's not just the money line. Too much of importance is given to the money line. A saint once said, you do not need to go to an astrologer or palmist to know about your future, because you already know your future. Present is a result of past. How will be my future? Future depends upon what you are doing in the present. What are we? We are product of our thoughts. So the thoughts that come to our mind are really important. Keep good company. If you keep good company, then whatever negative things that we see on your hand might not actually play out, and better things are going to play out. And the thoughts that are there, the negative thoughts, the depressive thoughts, if they are there in your hand, they need not play out, provided you are in the right company, provided you are able to keep those negative thoughts and come out of it, and somehow bring all your positive thoughts in front and keep your negative thoughts behind. So thank you for watching. And before I end, I would again request you to give your precious comments. Your comments are highly precious, because I would try to improve upon my videos. Do give a subscribe. Do subscribe to my channel, because I would be making more and more videos. I've already made around 500 plus videos. Thanks, bye, and take care. Best of health.